Good morning, Notre Dame. It's been 50 years of undergraduate women here at Notre Dame, and ever since Father Hesburgh made the decision to admit women to Notre Dame, women have been an integral part of our campus community. Sunrise Assistant Station Manager Elise Dehoney and I got to cover Condoleezza Rice when she came, the Secretary of State, former Secretary of State, former Notre Dame Board of Trustee member, and she really came to speak about undergraduate women and how really they've played such an integral part in our campus community. So here's some of her thoughts, and be sure to welcome and thank all of these amazing women that make our campus community so great. Be sure to attend the upcoming events this upcoming semester. But take a listen into what Secretary Rice had to say.
As you know, this year we mark the 50th anniversary of the admission by Father Hesburgh's decision of undergraduate women, of women to our undergraduate program. We are, I think it's clear, incredibly proud to call you an alumna, your master's degree here. Are there particular lessons in leadership you learned in the course of your career, and what advice might you give to any leader, and particularly women, as they think about opportunities before them?
Yes, but first, Father Jenkins, I have to tell you a little story about when I was here in so I was here 74, 75, and women had come in 72, of course. And now the issue was they were about to admit another class of women, and there wasn't enough dormitory space. And I lived in Lewis Hall, which at that time doubled as the graduate women's dorm in the convent. So we were kind of off it. But Grace Hall was to be turned over to women. And do you remember what the little motto was on all the signs?
I remember that because I was in Grace Hall at that time. But you tell this audience.
No lace in Grace. So when you think that it all went just really smoothly, there were little blips in the road.
I remember the sign, 200 urinals. Where will they go? But yes.
Yes, but fortunately, 50 years later, look, it's a marvelous thing to see that our great institutions in this country have become more inclusive and more diverse over time. Nobody thinks anymore about the fact that Ivy League schools or Notre Dame or other places were places that women could not go to school. If you asked a 10-year-old about that, they'd kind of think you lost your mind. And so we tend to forget that it has to be an active decision to make these institutions more inclusive, to change them. And Father Hesburgh was very brave, but Father Hesburgh didn't lack anything when it came to bravery, so it's maybe not surprising. And I know that women are now a completely integrated part of the Notre Dame community. And I would say when it comes to leadership, one of the things that I've often said is, I hope we can get over the fact of having to talk about women's leadership because it's just expected. It's just expected.
Yep.
I think we're getting there. To those who are breaking glass ceilings, and they're still there, I always say you have to own the fact that you might be a first. People often say these days, it would be so great, you must have mentors and role models who look like you. Well, frankly, if I'd been waiting for a black female Soviet specialist role model, I'd still be waiting. And so you might be a first. And then when you are a first, acknowledge it and move on, because you're not there to be a first, you're there to be whatever you are. Own it so that you have prepared deeply and you know you belong in that room. Don't let somebody else's sideways glance throw you off course, because maybe you belong there even more than they do. And most importantly, just recognize that being a first can be uncomfortable for you, but it can be uncomfortable for the others too. I actually think in a lot of our diversity efforts, if we think about diversity and inclusion as a two-way street, not a one-way street, it's not just your job to make me comfortable. I'm going to try to make the whole circumstance for all of us feel a little better. So one of the experiences that I had was that I had a one-year fellowship with the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And I worked for Strategic Nuclear Planning. These were the people who wrote the single integrated operations plan for the employment of nuclear weapons. I was 3 things they had never seen: Black, female, and civilian. And so the first day, they say, well, the rookie makes the coffee. Now, I could have been huffy about it, right? But I made the coffee. You know what? I make coffee so strong nobody drinks it. So wasn't asked to do that again. But
that's a good lesson.
yeah. Yeah, you have to have your little ways too. But the other thing that happened was that a couple weeks later, you know, I'm a huge football fan, I won the football pool. And actually now we all had something to talk about on Monday morning. And so recognizing that even in circumstances where we're increasing diversity, it's not like these people landed from Mars. There are common experiences, there are common goals, there are common aspirations, and if you can focus a little bit more on those and a little less on how different we are, I think it helps us all.
Great advice.